Hello, and welcome to BSB Must Reads, where we share with you the books we think you must be reading this month. And today I have with me the lovely Renee Roman. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us today. So we are going to jump right in. Tell our listeners a little bit about you, a little bit about your book, and then I want to hear your reading.
Great. So today, I'll tell you that I live in New York. I'm a native New Yorker, but not the city, the state. And I have a spoiled but lovable fur baby, Maisie, who you may or may not see on camera at any given time. I work full time in an area college, looking forward to retirement in a couple of years. Epicurean Delights was my first manuscript accepted by Bold Strokes at the end of 2016. And Glass and Stone is my 8th literary work. So Glass and Stone, I don't know if you can see that. It's always hard putting it on screen. Is a contemporary romance set in the seaside town of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Jordan Spade is a general contractor and mason by trade. The last few years, she's struggled with the death of her father and hasn't seen much of her mother since the funeral. Callie Burke has a teaching degree, but her passion lies in her stained glass artwork. She's struck out on her own to pursue her dream of opening a retail shop while enjoying the sights and sounds of the resort town. And this reading is from chapter 2, when Jordan and Callie first meet. The GPS was fickle today, and Callie circled the neighborhood a couple of times before finding the home she was looking for that was in mid-construction. She was pleasantly surprised to find the outside nearly completed, except for landscaping and some trim work. She grabbed her tote bag from the front seat and tossed her keys in the side pocket. It was easy to tell the sprawling home demanded special touches to help make it interesting, not just beautiful. As she got closer, sounds of workers greeted her, and she walked through the open garage in search of whoever was in charge. Though construction materials were scattered throughout, it wasn't hard to locate the kitchen that occupied a huge amount of space in the center of the home. The countertops were missing, but the cabinet measurements were drawn on the walls, and the floor was outlined with tape as placeholders. She set down her bag, pulled out a tape measure and clipboard, and forgot she was going to tell someone that she was there. Above where she stood were 4 evenly placed electrical boxes, and Callie began to measure the distance between them. She just started when a gruff voice broke her concentration. "Who the hell are you?" Callie glanced up and smiled. "Oh, hi, I'm Callie Burke. Do you know who's in charge?" The stern expression that met hers should have given her an indication her presence wasn't welcome, but her indomitable spirit refused to be intimidated. The woman took a few steps closer, holding a clipboard similar to the one she had just set down, and banged it against her thigh in annoyance. "I'm the general contractor, Jordan Spade." Jordan's eyes were honey brown, her face and arms deeply tanned, her lips pulled in a line. She was handsome. Callie had to give her that, even if she was being a tad rude. "Great. I was going to look for you, but I got sidetracked." She waved to the space that was outlined with masking tape and likely where the island would be located, then moved forward with her hand extended. "It's nice to meet you." Jordan's hand closed over hers, the texture rough and emanating warmth. "What are you doing here?" Jordan's aggravation seemed to be escalating. "Sorry, I'm the stained glass artist the owners contracted to make pendant lampshades and some window inserts." She cocked her head. "Didn't they tell you?" Jordan blew out a breath. "No, there was a vague mention on the blueprints, but..." She shook her head. "It doesn't matter. So what are you doing in here?" "Taking distance measurements. I didn't think I'd be bothering anyone since there's no one working in here." She reached in her bag and produced a business card, using it to keep her from feeling out of sorts. Jordan gave the card a quick glance and tucked it under the clamp on her clipboard. The floor tiles are going in next week. You won't be able to walk in here for a few days. That's fine. I won't have the shades ready for a few weeks. It takes time to create art, but the other windows, others? Jordan pulled a hand down her face. She picked up her clipboard and ran down the list. I'm confident I can get it all done in a month or so. Just then a loud bang echoed through the home. Son of a bitch. Jordan looked at her. I'll be right back. Callie watched her go, her stride full of purpose, her thick thighs straining her jeans, and the veins in her arms prominent. Jordan's overall demeanor had been less than friendly, and from the sound of what just happened, she was fairly certain it wasn't going to improve. In the meantime, she had work to do. A few minutes later, she heard a deep, rumbling voice approaching. If one more freaking thing goes... Jordan stopped mumbling when she realized Callie was still there. She jotted down a number and looked up. Everything okay? Jordan's bark was sharp. Is it ever? She wanted to tell Jordan to stick it where the sun doesn't shine, but instead she smiled kindly. Being in her position couldn't be easy. That depends on if there's a lot of moving parts. Jordan's laugh sounded lighter. Isn't that the truth? What else do you need here? Callie went back to her list. The master bath, the hall foyer, and the front door. Kind of all over the place then. If this is a bad time, It's not going to get any better, Miss Burke. Jordan rapped her knuckles on the door casing. Sometimes it actually gets worse. Come on, I'll show you where the rooms are, and then I've got to get going. Sure, that's fine. She gathered her stuff and followed Jordan through a maze of framed walls, some with sheetrock and some that had little at all done. They stepped into a large rectangular room with plumbing for a double sink and what would be, if she was interpreting the layout correctly, a huge walk-in shower. The area above where the toilet would be had an approximately 24-inch opening that was covered with plastic. I need an exact measurement. Can I remove the plastic? Jordan nodded, then carefully peeled back the masking tape and held the plastic out of the way. She measured twice. Wow, that really happens. What does? Jordan leaned against the wall, looking between the opening and her clipboard. It's exactly square. She finished a note on the paper, glanced up, winked. That makes my life a lot easier. I'll be sure to pass your approval on to the workers. Callie couldn't tell if Jordan was kidding or not. Thanks. I won't be much longer. Jordan looked like she was about to say something but stopped. Instead, she replaced the plastic, then pulled a bent business card from her back pocket and handed it to her. Call me when you're ready to install, and I'll let you know what day and when. There won't be a million things going on. After showing her the other areas, Jordan returned them to the kitchen. Can you find your way out when you're done? Yeah, I'll be fine. Thanks, Jordan. Jordan gave a nod and a tight smile, then disappeared. As far as first impressions went, Jordan didn't give her the warm fuzzies, but then she had just waltzed in on her job site unannounced. Maybe the next time she saw her would be less awkward for both of them. She could hope anyway.
Oh my goodness, Grumpy McGrumpy Pants?
Yeah, Jordan's definitely a seasoned character.
If I didn't know it ended in love, I'd be a little worried, but I know there's going to be a turnaround that's there somewhere.
There is hope.
Love can soften the hearts of even the grumpiest people.
I agree.
Okay, so as we saw in your reading, Callie is the stained glass artist. And I just thought that was a super interesting occupation. I don't think I've ever read a book with a stained glass artist before. Where did you get that idea?
Well, I came up with Jordan first, and as a construction worker, she's the stone part of the book, and she's hard, and some of her parts are unbending and rough rather than smooth and refined. And I like to put characters that are kind of opposites. And I had a friend who was into stained glass. And I thought, oh, that might be an interesting combination. I mean, they're pretty far apart on the spectrum of job occupations, and um, definitely have more to talk about because of that. So I decided to put them together.
Cool. That's awesome. Did you hit your friend up with a lot of questions about, what she does and how it all works?
I did, and I did some research online, and I watched some YouTube videos, and I actually did some research for this one, which I don't like at all, but I do it when I need to. And with people's occupations, that's the one thing that I really do try to get as much information as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. So as you mentioned, they're both working on a construction site. And one of the things that happens there is that Callie gets harassed by some other people that are also working, which I think is also a very interesting plot point. And I wonder, do you think that part of the book would reflect kind of the reality of what it would be like for a woman like her to be on a construction site in that position? I mean, did you insert it in there because it's something that happens and you wanted to draw attention to it?
It's fairly common. I've seen it happen. A beautiful woman walks into a construction site where there's 50 guys, and someone's bound to either make a comment or do a wolf whistle or do something that is an objectification of that person. And it really does need to be addressed.
Yeah.
I didn't go into it deeply, but I brought it up as a point that any place that there is a large gathering of males who are more or less strutting their stuff, and proving that they're, machos, there can be potential for a lack of respect when a woman shows up. And so, yeah, that was just a little point that I wanted to throw in there, and give Jordan an opportunity to decide whether she was going to get involved or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so true, that sometimes in our books we do have these little soapboxes, these little things that are important to us that we see that we want to put in our books to maybe to rewrite it or to draw attention to it, to make some kind of point. And I just thought that one was a really good, important one to make.
Thank you.
So let's move on to Jordan. As you were saying, Jordan is more the stone in the story. And my impression of her is that she has a lot of angst and a lot of remorse under the surface. So what is it that makes her feel like she doesn't deserve love? Like, where do those feelings come from that make her feel like she can't be involved with someone?
There's an incident with her father before he dies. She was in a relationship and basically ignored his reaching out to her, I think, as she sees it, and whether that was true or not, we don't really know. But I don't think that Jordan ever forgave herself, I mean, for not being there for her father, because her father and her were very close, and they had a very loving relationship. They were a lot alike. And I think that weighed heavy on her. And so she didn't feel deserving of another love, even though it's not obviously a parental love.
Yeah.
But I think that she is using that as a form of self-punishment.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Well, please do check out Glass and Stone by Renee Roman, out this October 1st, on the Bold Strokes website, and October 11th, everywhere else books are sold. Thank you so much, Renee.
Thank you, Sandy.